The photo world is about to absolutely explode, and Nikon is holding the match. For 6 long, painful years, Nikon shooters have been left out in the cold. You have been staring at your Z7 II, watching the calendar flip, and feeling like a completely forgotten child. While Sony and Canon fans have been feasting on insane AI autofocus and lightning-fast stacked sensors, Nikon gave you nothing but crumbs and minor firmware updates. The silence from Nikon headquarters has been absolutely deafening. But right now, the crickets have finally stopped chirping. The leaks have officially turned into a massive, unstoppable flood. The Nikon Z7 III is real. It finally has a rumored price tag, and the specs are designed to throw a heavy, devastating punch straight at the competition. But we have to ask the ultimate question. Is it a little too late? The competition hasn't just been standing in the ring with Nikon. Sony and Canon have been winning by a brutal technical knockout for 2 years straight. Today, we are breaking down every single leak, every internal whisper, and every supply chain secret to see if Nikon is truly back in the game. Are they making a legendary comeback, or are they just arriving at a party that ended at midnight? Let's be real for a second, because the timeline here is honestly painful. If you are a Nikon shooter, you have earned the exact right to be a little salty. The original Z7 dropped way back in 2018. It was a bold start for their full-frame mirrorless journey. The Z7 II followed in 2020, which fixed the single card slot drama, but kept the exact same slow internal soul. Since then, it has been total radio silence. For 6 long years, Nikon has been completely hyper-focused on the Z8 and the Z9. We get it because those are incredible machines. They are the sports and cinema giants that put Nikon back on the map and proved they could build elite mirrorless tech. But in that process, Nikon seemingly forgot about the exact people who built their reputation in the first place. They forgot the landscape photographers, the studio artists, and the portrait pros. Think about the sheer psychological toll of being a loyal consumer during this massive technology gap. Every single time Sony announced a new body, Nikon users had to watch YouTube reviews with a sense of profound jealousy. Every time Canon updated their autofocus algorithms to track subjects with eerie accuracy, Nikon users had to look down at their Z7 II and deal with a camera that occasionally struggled to find a face in broad daylight. This is not just about gear updates. This is about a community feeling abandoned by the very company they supported with thousands of dollars of their hard-earned money. While Nikon was busy perfecting the Z9, Sony released the powerful A7RV and the A7R6. Canon dropped the R5 and the stunning R5 Mark II. Even Fujifilm managed to update their medium-format monsters twice. Nikon hasn't just been late, they have been dangerously late. But according to the latest supply chain whispers, the painful wait ends in the autumn of 2026. Let's talk about the money because this is where the Nikon value myth either lives or dies. The rumored price for the Z7 III is currently sitting right between $3,000 and $3,500. For context, the Sony A7R6 is chilling at $3,500. And the Canon R5 II demands a steep $3,900. If Nikon can actually hit that sweet spot of $3,299, they become the value king overnight. They absolutely need to undercut Sony by at least $200 to convince people to stay. In a world where inflation has turned mid-range cameras into crazy luxury items, that small price gap is the only thing that will stop a loyal Nikon user from glancing at a Sony catalog. Let's analyze what a consumer thinks when they are standing at the counter of a camera store. If the prices are identical, the consumer will almost always choose the brand that has shown a consistent roadmap over the last 3 years. Sony has built a reputation for relentless, predictable innovation. Canon has built a reputation for giving professionals exactly what they need for high-end video and photo work. Nikon cannot just match the competition on price. They have to actively punish them. They have to make the financial decision so incredibly obvious that even a die-hard Sony fan pauses and considers switching ecosystems. If they push past $3,500, they aren't just in trouble. They will become completely invisible. People do not wait 6 long years just to pay a premium for hardware that feels like a catch-up project. Nikon needs to prove to the world that brand loyalty has a financial reward. Now, let's get right into the guts of this thing because the leaked specs are where the real story hides. We are looking at a brand new 61-megapixel stacked BSI sensor. Stacked is the absolute magic word here. If you don't know why that matters, listen very closely. The old Z7 sensors were beautiful, but they were incredibly slow. They had terrible rolling shutter issues that made the electronic shutter almost useless for anything moving faster than a turtle. If you tried to panning along with a flying bird using the electronic shutter on a Z7 II, you would often end up with a warped image where trees in the background looked like they were leaning over at a 45-degree angle. That is the classic rolling shutter effect caused by slow sensor readout speeds. A stacked sensor changes the entire math of the camera. It places a high-speed memory layer directly underneath the pixels, allowing the camera to read the entire sensor almost instantly. It means lightning-fast readout speeds, zero distortion in your electronic shutter, and a massive boost to autofocus calculations per second. On top of that, you are looking at 8K video at 60p and 4K video at a smooth 120p. This is the exact hybrid powerhouse Nikon should have released 3 years ago. It finally matches the Sony and Canon benchmarks, giving landscape and wildlife pros the slow-motion tools they have been begging for. Imagine being out in the field and capturing a dramatic landscape, and then instantly switching to a cinematic, ultra-high-definition slow-motion video of a waterfall or an animal moving through the frame without needing to change your physical position or compromise on quality. Under the hood, the Z7 III is rumored to jump straight to the EXPEED processor. This is a massive curveball because the flagship Z9 is still running on the older EXPEED 7. Jumping a full generation ahead means the Z7 III will have way more processing headroom than the most expensive camera Nikon sells today. This new digital brain brings advanced AI-powered autofocus to the table. We are talking about real-time tracking for birds, cars, planes, and even insects that actually stays locked on regardless of the lighting. The processing power required to run these algorithms is immense. It requires the camera to analyze millions of data points every single millisecond to determine where the subject's eye is, where the body is moving, and how to predict that motion if the subject briefly goes behind an obstacle. It is also highly expected to handle in-camera AI noise reduction. This is a massive game changer for anyone who shoots in low-light environments. Imagine shooting at a high ISO of 6400 and getting a file that looks like it was shot at ISO 400 simply because the processor cleaned it up beautifully before the data even hit your memory card. Traditionally, photographers had to spend hours in post-processing software using heavy computer algorithms to clean up noisy images. If the EXPEED processor can do this in real time inside the camera body itself, the workflow speed for event photographers, wedding shooters, and photojournalists will be completely revolutionized. The body itself is expected to look and feel like a mini Z8. You get that deep professional grip and all the tactile buttons you love, but in a much lighter frame. For the dedicated landscape shooters who hike 10 miles into the wilderness for one perfect sunset shot, every single gram saved is an absolute blessing. Your back, your shoulders, and your camera bag will thank you for this design shift. But here is the cold, hard truth that most fanboy channels will never tell you. Specs on a piece of paper do not mean a single thing if the real-world execution fails. Nikon has 3 massive hurdles to clear with this launch. First is the autofocus reliability. Sony is still the undisputed king of sticky autofocus. When a Sony camera locks onto an eye, it acts like it is permanently glued there. It does not matter if the subject turns around, blinks, or walks behind a crowd of people. The camera remembers the subject and waits for them to reappear. Canon is a very close second place, offering an incredibly intuitive tracking system that works flawlessly for sports and wildlife. Nikon is currently in a respectable third place, but respectable does not win gold medals in a hyper-competitive market. If the Z7 III still hunts for focus in low light, or loses a subject behind a single blade of grass, or shows any hesitation when a bride is walking down a dimly lit aisle, it is an instant deal-breaker. Professionals will simply refuse to trust their livelihood to a system that feels unreliable under pressure. The second problem is the lens ecosystem. Nikon's S-line lenses are optical masterpieces and they are arguably the best glass in the world, but they are heavy and they are wildly expensive. When a Sony 50mm f/1.2 is hundreds of grams lighter than the Nikon equivalent, professional wedding photographers notice that difference by the end of a long 12-hour day. Your wrists feel it, your forearms feel it, and by hour 10, you are wishing for a lighter setup. Plus, Nikon is still very protective of their lens mount. While Sony users enjoy a giant buffet of affordable, high-quality, lightweight lenses from third-party manufacturers like Sigma and Tamron, Nikon users are often forced to pay the heavy first-party tax. This makes entering or staying in the Nikon ecosystem an incredibly expensive endeavor for young creators or enthusiasts who do not have a massive corporate budget to support their passion. The third problem is pure timing. By the time this camera actually hits the store shelves in late 2026, the Sony A7 III will have already been on the market for over a year. Sony can easily slash their price by $300 on Black Friday, and suddenly Nikon's entire value argument completely evaporates into thin air. Sony has the manufacturing scale and the market dominance to play price wars whenever they want. If Nikon enters the market with a tight profit margin, they will have absolutely no room to maneuver when the competition starts lowering prices to suffocate the new release. Nikon is playing defense in a game where they used to set the rules. Right now, they are clearing out old Z7 II stock with massive discounts across major retailers globally. This is the clearest sign that the successor is right around the corner. They need to completely flush the warehouses before they can announce the new king. It is a smart business move, but it is a highly frustrating one for the loyal fans who have been holding on to their 2020 gear while the rest of the photography world moved fast into the future. It feels like a calculated delay rather than an organic product cycle. So, what is my honest opinion on this product? The Nikon Z7 III looks like a true masterpiece of engineering that is sadly arriving a day late and $1 short. If you are already deep in the Nikon ecosystem, if your gear closet is completely full of Z-mount glass, and you absolutely love the way a Nikon body feels in your hand, this is the exact upgrade you have been dreaming about for over half a decade. It is the perfect tool for ultra-high-resolution stills, massive gallery prints, and aggressive cropping. It completely fixes every single complaint we ever had about the Z7 II. It gives you the speed, the power, and the modern processing capability that allows you to create art without limitation. But if you are a working professional who needs a brand new camera today to put food on the table, you simply cannot afford to wait for a speculative release date or a maybe soon timeline. You should buy the Sony or the Canon right now, establish your workflow, and you should not look back. Time is money in the professional creative industry, and a camera that exists only in leaks cannot shoot a paying gig. Nikon is not trying to win over brand new converts with this camera. They are simply trying to stop the bleeding and keep their most loyal fans from jumping ship to other brands. It is a retention camera, not a conquest camera. Nikon has spent 6 years perfecting this design, and while they were working in secret, the entire world changed around them. High resolution is no longer the magic novelty it used to be. In the past, having 60 megapixels was a rare superpower that set a camera apart from everything else on the market. Today, almost every brand has a high-resolution option that performs beautifully. Photographers no longer just want raw pixel count. We want extreme speed. We want advanced AI integration that makes our jobs easier. And we want flawless, unbreakable reliability in the field. The Z7 III seems to have all of that on paper, but it carries the heavy, crushing burden of 6 years of intense expectations. If this camera does not absolutely floor the tech reviewers on day one, if it receives even a single lukewarm review from a major creator, it might be the last high-res dedicated body we see for a very long time as the Z8 continues to swallow up that market share with its incredible hybrid capabilities. So, are you still Team Nikon and waiting it out, or have you already switched to the competition out of sheer frustration? Let me know your story in the comments below. I read every single one, and I want to know exactly how the community feels about this long-awaited release. When the official announcement finally drops from Nikon, I will be right here with a full spec breakdown within 24 hours to tell you if the leaks were right or if Nikon pulled a fast one on us. Thanks for watching, and remember, the best camera in the world is the one you have in your hand right now, not the one you are waiting for in a rumor mill. Go shoot something amazing. If you like the video, subscribe, share the video, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update.